Hey, my name's Jenni Jorgensen. I am a nurse practitioner and owner of Frontier Pediatric Partners in Twin Falls, Idaho, and this is our education segments. So we've got sweet little Ezra here who's going to be our baby model. We'll use him to show how to swaddle, but we'll try to talk about sleep training in different stages. So we'll do like infant, which would be like 4 months and under. We'll do 4 months to about a year, and then we'll do like a year and up, kind of toddler or more. So yeah, we'll get started. We'll go ahead and I'll show you with sweet Ezra a couple of ways to swaddle. And I feel like swaddling is the best way in that under 4 months or 4 months and under to help kids sleep. It helps with some of that natural startle reflex they have. So kids naturally will startle and shake. And if you put them in a swaddle, it helps settle that down. It settles their nervous system. Plus it makes them feel more like they felt when they were in the womb. Everything was nice and tight and just relaxing, and it helps them settle down and sleep so much better. I hear lots of parents talk about feeling like their kids fight the swaddle. Some of that is a little bit of that natural startle reflex, as well as just them kind of getting used to being in it. So if they initially kind of push back, don't unswaddle them. That's normal. Give it a few minutes, they'll normally settle right into it, and then you'll just see their whole little body relax. Okay, should we show sweet man? So we're gonna lay him in there. You always want the top of the swaddle to hit above their little shoulders. For the wrap swaddle, I like it to be even a little bit higher, but for this one, you want it to be about shoulder height. And then you're gonna tuck their little feet in. And the goal of a swaddle is to not keep them tight from like shoulder all the way to toe. It's really just to keep that tight right around their core, so like their shoulder to their hips. Oh, God bless you. Oh, God bless you. Yeah. So you're gonna take their little arms. You can do arms straight down. I always felt like my kids kind of preferred arms to their chest, but I'd say whatever you see that your kiddos prefer. So we're gonna do arms down for little Ezra. It makes it a little bit harder for them to sneak their arms up, especially with these types of Velcro swaddles. So arms down is a good thing. What we'll do arms down, and then we're just gonna take it over. And the nice thing with these ones is it kind of gives you a guide, but you want it to be tight, so don't do it right there. For this little guy, he's littler, so he needs it a little bit tighter. And then you're gonna just pull it across, and you're gonna tuck underneath. Sometimes you give it a little bit of a snug. I know, what do you think? Tell me all about it. Then we're gonna take this side, and we're gonna just pull it over. And you see how we've got a nice, hi handsome, a nice little tight from like shoulders down, but the swaddle's nice well below his face so he can easily breathe. He can move his head around, but we've got him nice. You're just looking at the lights. We've got him nice and tight, and that'll help him just settle down and then go ahead and sleep. And he won't get that startle reflex. The Velcro swaddles, I feel like, are really helpful if you don't feel confident swaddling or if you've never swaddled before. But once they get a little bit bigger, it's gonna be really hard to swaddle a 3 or a 4-month-old still in a swaddle like this. So a muslin swaddle, which are more of just these like loose, big, almost kind of towel, blanket style swaddles, are gonna be actually I think they're a little bit better. So the key to the bigger swaddles is you've gotta get the right shape. So you wanna get it into like, first start with like a diamond, and then you're gonna do it into an almost triangle. So as you can kind of see, I'm not quite making a full triangle, but I want it to be pretty deep. So, and then what I'm gonna do is just kind of make it smooth. I know. What do you think, handsome? And then for this swaddle, I like to line up more with their ears, and I'll show you why in a second. But that's kind of where you want with these swaddles. You want that top to be right at about ear level. Hi, handsome. And then what we're gonna do is we've created a little pocket here. So we're gonna tuck his little arm. You can still tuck arms down, but this is partly also why I like this one, is you can tuck arms in, and then that brings it, when you bring it across, it kind of brings arms to chest. So tuck arms in, and then we're gonna take it across, And we're just gonna kind of tuck nice and tight. Again, remember we're really, I know, did I get you there? We're gonna go from shoulders to hips is where we're trying to get it tight. We really don't want it, we want it loose when it starts hitting that hip and leg area, so he's got a little bit of room to move. And then we're gonna take that other little hand in that pocket we've created, tuck that little hand in the pocket, and then we're gonna pull that one across too. And as you see, because I pulled it up, when I pull it across, it kind of pulls it over his shoulder, and then it creates that nice little pocket for his hand, but he can't get his arm up and out. It holds it in there and holds him tight, because that's one thing I hear parents talk about a lot. They're like, well, I swaddle him and then their arm's halfway out and they're all funky and not comfortable, but this will keep them in. And then we've got a nice little swaddle. And then you can see, hi handsome, he's still pretty good and tight from here to here, but then he's got pretty good movement of his legs. You can like tuck that up or around. I don't know, I always just left it out with my kiddos. Hi, I squished your head, I'm sorry. What do you think? So there's the other swaddle. Sleep training. I get the question all the time, spend a lot of time in clinic talking about it. It's an important thing, and it's something that it's super important for your kids, but this is also something that is like sanity saving for parents. So the first thing you want to start doing is you want to help them learn their nights and their days. So one of the things that you can do is you want to help them start seeing that, okay, we're awake a little bit more during the day, the light's brighter during the day, it's a little bit louder during the day, and I'm gonna eat a little bit more during the day. And so with that, what you want to try to do is you want to try to feed them a little bit more frequently. So you'll hear doctors and nurses talking about feeding your baby every 2 to 3 hours. So during the day, you probably want to lean more towards that 2-hour mark in general. Use your baby's cues to guide, but if they're sleeping and it's been 3 hours, don't let them keep sleeping. We want to train them to do that at night. So if it's been 3 hours, wake them up. If they're waking up at 2, great, feed them. And you feed them a little bit more frequently through the day, and even intentionally do some tummy time, engage with them more, spend a little bit more time, awake times, engagement times during the day, and that's gonna help them understand that, okay, I eat more often, I'm awake a little bit more often. Don't worry about making the house absolutely silent. It's actually good. Let the 5-year-old bang away in the background. Let your other toddler scream in the room next door or even at your feet. Like, that's okay. That's good for that little newborn, because that'll help them start getting used to the pace of life and daytime life. And then at night, we want to do the opposite. So we want to turn the lights down. We want to keep it a little bit quieter, maybe a little bit of like a white noise machine. Think they've been used to hearing mama's heartbeat. They're used to hearing those noises. So having a white noise machine will help kind of soothe them. We want to swaddle them, help them feel really nice and tight and secure. And then we also want to try not to feed them as often. So we want them to try to go 3-4 hours if we can, even a little bit longer. Give them more time to sleep through the night and not intentionally wake them up every 2 to 3 hours. Let them go a little bit more. So if you think about, you've probably maybe seen on the internet or maybe read a parenting book about the 4th trimester. That's kind of what we're talking about here. We're trying to kind of recreate a little bit of what it was like in the womb for them, because that helps calm them down, it helps regulate their nervous system, and it helps them sleep better. And so if you can get those days and those nights kind of figured out, that really helps. So back to kind of nighttime, some other kind of strategies that can help with getting them to sleep at night is you'll kind of go through your routine through the day. Remember, you're not worried about if it's loud, you're not worried about the light. You're like, this is daytime, this is what we do during the day. They're still gonna sleep, they still should sleep. We don't want them up all day long, but they're gonna be awake a little bit more than they would at night. And then at nighttime, it's nighttime. So start even when they're little, start with a routine. We snuggle, we read a book together, we sing a song, I feed you, I swaddle you, and then I lay you down in your safe crib. And babes shouldn't sleep with moms and dads. It's not a safe place for them to sleep. We want a firm, hard surface. Adult beds are not firm and hard enough. We've got pillows, we've got humans. It's just not a safe place for babes. So they need to be sleeping in their own separate space. We want it to be a firm surface because we don't want them to snuggle in and then potentially suffocate. So firm surface, no bumpers, no blankets, no stuffed animals, just baby, a swaddle. And they can be in the room with you. They can be right up next to your bed. They can be across the house with a video monitor, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. But we don't want them in bed with you. We want them in their own bed. So you're gonna lay them down in their own bed, and ideally, you can't like spoil a baby by cuddling them. If you've read that somewhere, don't listen to that person. Don't listen to anything else they say. That sounds like awful. So you can't spoil them. Snuggle, snuggle, love on them, and then lay them down. And if they wake a little bit, that's okay. Put your hand on them, rub them a little bit. It's okay. Soothe their little face. You're good. Go back to bed. If you want to give them a pacifier, you can, or a hand to suck on, or your finger to suck on. Sucking helps make babies feel happy. It releases happy hormones. It makes them feel really good. And so it's okay to suck as long as you've got breastfeeding well established and they're latching well. You don't need to worry about giving them a pacifier. So you can give them a little bit of pacifier or something to suck on. That'll help them soothe, quiet down, and then fall asleep. And then you can leave. When it's time for mommy and daddy to go to bed, if you aren't gonna crash as soon as you put baby down, another thing that you can do is you can do what's called a dream feed. So that's where you're actually gonna intentionally, you feed baby and you're kind of like stacking feeds. So you feed baby before baby goes to bed, and then when you're ready to go to bed an hour, 2 hours later, you intentionally scoop baby up and don't fully wake up baby, just wake up baby enough to feed baby. And feed baby, and then same thing, swaddle them back up, snuggle them, and then lay them back down. And they should fall right asleep. And now we're asleep with a lot of food in our belly. So what we should be able to do is we should be able to get a good stretch of sleep at that point. And so typically for newborns, we recommend letting them sleep 3 to 4 hours. Much past 4 hours, they probably need to wake up and eat. They probably will naturally wake up and eat. And as they get older, you should see that those hours stretch a bit. So typically, by the time they're about a month to 2 months old, you can pretty consistently get 4-ish hours. By about 4-ish months or so, you could probably get about 6 hours. Sometimes I have babies in clinic, and within a month, they're sleeping through the night. I'm just telling parents they won the baby lottery, and they need to be really thankful for that. That's actually not normal. Most babies are going to wake through the night, but you should be able to get a solid stretch. And especially if you do that stacking dream feed, that will help you really get that stretch. And then after that stretch, they'll probably go back to waking every 2 to 3 hours, more like you're going into the daytime. But instead of daytime where it's loud and it's bright and you're potentially engaging them more, those early in the morning after you've gotten that stretch, those are the times when you're going to kind of scoop them up, feed them, love on them, change a quick diaper if you need to, and then lay them back down as quickly as possible so that they can fall back asleep. And if you start doing that, what you'll find through those 4 months is you should start getting more consistent and longer stretches of time of sleep until we get to that 4 to 5 month stage where it's time to actually start doing a little bit more intensive sleep training.